It's Doogie White here with the interview for Metal Recall magazine. So your first question is, where am I calling from today? Well, I am in the beautiful capital of Scotland, Edinburgh, and it's a lovely day. We've got a har, that's an H-A-A-R. It's come in from the North Sea, and it just creates a mist over the hills, so you can see some of the hills, and some of the hills you just can't see. As far as holding up during these crazy times, well, all my work was removed in 2020. I was due to work with Michael Schenker in the March. We'd been start off in Japan and go through to South America in October, doing various festivals with Maiden and Kiss and things, but it all just fell apart. The pandemic kind of really killed it off for us. So, like everybody else, we're just hoping that it's going to come back at some point, and we will be able to get back out on the road and do what we know and love. I grew up in the steel town in Scotland called Motherwell, which is closer to Glasgow than Edinburgh. And they just used to open the school doors, and everybody piled out from the school and went to work in the steelworks. I didn't want to do that. Everybody I knew was involved with steelworks, so I went on and became a coach builder. And I did that, and I worked for the railway companies, building and repairing rolling stock, and it was good. I was always in bands during that sort of period anyway. Just the way anybody gets into a band, to be honest. Somebody likes what you do, and they hear you and they think, oh, do you want to be in a band? So that's how I ended up doing that. I don't look back on what life would have been like if I'd got the Iron Maiden gig. I'm not that kind of guy, just because I believe in looking forward as much as you can. Life might have been different for me, but I don't really think about it, to be honest. It didn't happen, It's Blaze got the job, and Blaze did a fantastic job for 2 albums and a number of tours with them. And I went on and joined Rainbow. So had I joined Maiden, I might have been a richer man, but Blackmore was really my sort of. That's where I wanted to be from when I first heard them play guitar when I was 15 or 14, 15 I think, 15 years old. And, of course, then I played with, and I was with Ritchie for 3.5 years, and I was with Yngwie Malmsteen for 7, and with Schenker, Michael Schenker, for 9. So it's been a wee adventure, it has to be said. I wouldn't change anything. Why would you? As far as raunchy on the road stories are concerned, it was never really my bag, to be honest. We always had good fun, because when I get to Japan, it doesn't matter where it is, to be honest. It could be Japan, it can be America, it can be anywhere. I like to wander. I like to get off the bus as soon as we get into town, and I just wander around for 4 or 5 hours, soak up the sights, go and see what's going on, and enjoy it. Do the gig to the best that we can be that particular day. Every day is different. It depends how many you're doing in a row. Sometimes, we used to do, when I joined Michael, we would do 13 gigs in 14 days, and that was a big ask for a singer, or for anybody really, for the crew guys as well. And so not really any of the sordid stuff. It was never really my bag, to be honest. Of course, I've joined up with Alcatraz now since Graham Bonnet, my good friend, decided to leave, and him and I had a long conversation about him not enjoying doing the kind of music that was Alcatraz, and so he left, and they phoned me up and asked me if I would be interested in doing some touring with them, and I said yes, of course. But seeing as the pandemic is here, why don't we just write a new album and just say this is where the band's going now, how it's moving forward? So that's what we've done. The album is called 5. It's the Roman numeral V for 5, and it comes out in October. There's 2 songs already out there on YouTube. We shot videos for them, even during lockdown and things. One of them is called Turn of the Wheel, and the other one is called Sword of Deliverance, and they're 2 great songs. Turn of the Wheel was the first song we wrote together, and it's got a great video that goes along with it, within the limitations and restrictions that we all had to sort of abide by. We have touring here in the UK in November, which I'm hoping will come off. But if you're looking at anything that's going on, you can see how many tours are being cancelled just because somebody in the merch met somebody who had the virus, and everybody has to go home. So I'm working towards going on tour. If it comes off, it comes off. If it doesn't come off, there'll always be next year. My solo album is Yet Untitled. Well, I got the rights to that back at Christmas last year, 2020. I got the rights back, and we decided to reissue it through a record label called Store for Music. And I had 2 tracks left over that I didn't put on the original release, and so everything's been remastered and put together. It's a nice package because it's a double CD. The second CD has a whole bunch of cover versions that I did back in the early 20s. And so there was a whole bunch of us just all got together, and we would do a different album every week or every 2 weeks. From Nazareth to UFO to Whitesnake to Yes to just T-Rex, Slade, everybody. And so it's a good package, and it sounded really good. Pontus Norgren, guitar player with Hammerfall, he remastered it all for me, and it sounded terrific. I'm very pleased with it, and it's worth anybody having it in their car. And so during lockdown, I signed a 3-album deal with Frontiers. We'd been kind of dancing around each other for a number of years, and it just seemed the right time because I wasn't touring. And I got together with a great guitar player and a great writer called Emil Norberg from a band called Persuader. He's Swedish, and we wrote an album together, and it's terrific. I love it. The project, and it is a project, is called Long Shadows Dawn, because I woke up one morning and I could just see 10,000 people shouting LSD, LSD before I came on stage, and that kind of appealed to me. The album's called Isle of Wrath, because the UK at the time was going through something called Brexit, and that completely screwed up the entire music business, from crew guys to trucking to busing to being able to go and play in Europe. People decided that being isolated, being an isolated country away from the rest of Europe and the 27 other countries that were involved there was a good idea. Personally, I think it's a disaster, and it's been a disaster for all the bands. And then the pandemic came, and now they've got an excuse not to look back and think we really buggered this up. Looking forward and to the future. I just hope we can get back out there and play live. I write albums now and I always have done, to go out and play the songs live. That's the most important thing for me, is to be on a stage somewhere in this crazy world. Rocking out and seeing the reaction to the songs and seeing the reaction to the performance is always a joy for me. So I enjoy that, and we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's all virus dependent, really, isn't it? And we all just need to sort of look after each other and protect each other and be as safe as we can be. And if we want to get back out on the road then there are rules that we have to follow. It's a personal choice for everybody, but I hope to see as many people at the Alcatraz shows the Long Shadows Dawn shows, and if I get back to doing anything with Michael Schenker again, then doing those as well. So we'll have to wait and see. Everything's up in the air just now, but we live in hope. Isn't that good? Live in hope. Oh, and finally, Save the Planet. We've got nowhere else to go. And it's not really, Save the Planet's not right. Save ourselves, because, the planet will survive anyway. We might not. Might not be a bad thing, right enough.